Ready?
Yep.
2, ready, go. Grab your friends and gather around. Hear the stories when you're down. With songs and smiles for miles. If you're looking for a place to go, I know one hell of a show. There's a place that'll make you glad. Opposite of being sad. DICK&Dank.com. DICK&Dank.com.
Welcome back to Dope Discussions with Dick and Dank.
Is this because you're stoned, or is this because it's been a while and you're rusty?
Both?
All right, deal.
Nobody sees it. The video's not on. You had to call me out on it.
I couldn't help it. This is the first time I've ever seen you screw up like that. You called me a dick again?
You're a dick. Now I've reported it in there on purpose so that I can call that out every time. You're a dick. But anyway, so we were last talking about 10 minutes ago, but a week ago for anybody actually listening to our episodes.
Yep.
We were talking about tolerance and our next guests and who was coming and the exciting things to come.
And
we're finally here.
microdosing.
Microdosing. And we're finally here. We have Renee here. We're going to start with Renee, is the lovely assistant of the doctor,
Mark Woods.
Mark Woods from Star Flower Clinic in Fulton, Illinois, 1008 4th Street in Fulton. Now, I know they just redid the whole downtown area, the sidewalks and everything.
I gotcha. But
All
it's
right.
easier to get up and down the main drag. And
All
nice.
right. But we got Renee here. Now, you work at the clinic there. You're the assistant. Now, I say work at the clinic, but they're only open a couple days a week, so I don't know how hard the work really is.
It is hard work because I do
okay.
all of our advertising, I do all of our scheduling, and then I also do all the application assistance, so making sure that everybody gets approved and that all the documents are sent in correctly.
So you're doing the Lord's work.
Right.
Yeah.
The Lord works for Christ Cabbage.
Christ cabbage, yep.
Right.
Yep.
I'm with you. So I like it. So you've helped me,
Do you
obviously.
need a joint?
No, but thank you. Yes.
Okay. Now, you've worked there how long?
Since 2017.
2017. So you were there when I first got it, then I'm assuming?
Yes,
Oh,
probably.
you probably were there when I first got. Okay.
Right.
most
So
certainly.
you've been there now. Granted, 3 years ago, I don't remember. I can't remember yesterday. So 3 years ago was going to be difficult. So I appreciate you coming on our show today. But we're talking about cannabis, the reasons for use, and Star Flower Clinic, because our next episode will be with the doctor himself. So Renee, now a little bit about yourself. So what drew you to cannabis in general to be able to work on it work there for a living?
So it's kind of an interesting story. I have endometriosis, which is pretty bad cramps. And when I was on my way to Colorado after my stepdad passed away from cancer, I was with my ex-boyfriend, and halfway there, I told him, let's just turn around because I'm having the worst cramps ever, and sitting in this car is not working for me. Taryn refused to take me home. He said, we're already in Nebraska, let's go to Colorado. So we go to Colorado, and I call the hotel that we're staying at, and I say, can I just have an early check-in because I don't want to stay here. I don't want to go out and about. I just want to go to sleep. They're like, no, the room's not clean yet. Give us about an hour or two. So Taryn said, let's go to the dispensary. We go to the dispensary. When we walk in, this lady said, what kind of pain are you trying to treat? And I'm like, I thought that medical marijuana was like a fake gimmick. Like
Glaucoma,
you guys were just,
right.
yeah, you guys were just saying it to make it so you guys could smoke legally.
Well, some do. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Well, we actually see in our clinic that a lot of people deal with a lot of pain that they just kind of ignore. So it's maybe a gimmick to some people, but if people would just realize that sometimes they are dealing with certain issues, it really isn't a gimmick. Like they really are smoking for legit reasons.
I guess I was thinking more like probably about that time, because that would have been before 2017, right?
Yeah.
And that was when California medical was just kind of legal-ish. Oh, before that a little. But anyway, they used to joke about, oh, you want to smoke weed? Oh, my shoulder hurts. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I didn't mean to call you guys. I'm sorry if I meant to imply
I get what you're
that.
saying. I'm just saying that when I went there, I had that complete perception, and then I was completely wrong because when I got there, the lady was like, well, what kind of pain are you trying to treat? And I'm like,
right.
Actually, I'm having horrible cramps right now. And she said, well, instead of smoking, because when you smoke, you burn a lot of the cannabinoids away, here's a pain patch. And I was like, a pain patch for weed? And she was like, yeah. She's like, just put it on your wrist or put it on your ankle and then just go about your day. So I actually tried to open it while I was in the dispensary because I was in so much pain. They were like, you can't medicate in here. Like, hold on, you got to buy and then you got to leave. So as soon as we get to the car, I put the pain patch on. Best Western calls me and they're like, hey, you guys can come check in. So Taryn's like, all right, let's go to the hotel. And I was actually running a bath for myself. And I told Taryn, I said, I don't feel any pain. And he was like, are you joking? And I have been taking like pills all the time. I had smoked numerous amounts of cannabis and like, even though cannabis would help, but nothing made me feel like a complete body numbing the way that I felt that day.
Yeah.
So
So you weren't new to cannabis.
I wasn't new to cannabis at all. Like we had joints in the car on the way up to Colorado, but I didn't want to smoke in Nebraska because I was just like fearful. So I hadn't smoked at all, but I was not new to it. But I was new to different forms of cannabis. I had only known that you could smoke cannabis. I didn't know that you could like make it into edible forms and you could wear it and all the things that I know now. And the reason that we went to Colorado was because my stepdad had just died from cancer. And I was recommending that he smoke weed because it was the only thing that helped his appetite.
Yep.
And I wish that I would have known what I knew when I went to Colorado because I probably could have got a couple more years with him if we would have been able to find another method that would have just been able to ease the pain and kill the cancer all at once.
Right.
So once I went to Colorado and I had that like life-changing experience, I came back to Illinois and I was like, cannabis should be legal here, you know?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense of why it's not legal here. And so I was going to NIU in DeKalb.
Yep.
I found this lady that was running this magazine called Good Intentions in Chicago. And I just reached out to her. I said, hey, I see that you have like a cannabis magazine. Are you guys accepting any kind of applications? And she was like, yeah. She was like, if you want, you can intern with us. And I ended up getting a job there. And then cannabis, that was the year 2015. I actually was able to work the first day that the dispensaries opened, creating a documentary through school on November 9th of 2015. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, I've been in the industry really from the very beginning.
Can you see that documentary somewhere?
Yeah, but it's rough. It's one of those that
Did you do it
trying
with
to
friends,
hide
or
it?
you were just in it, or
No, I made it. I made it for like a school
dude,
project. Yeah.
You got to tell us. You got to tell people.
Yeah,
That's
where would we find
awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those things that you could tell I was a complete newbie at making videos. So
You
That's
can't
what makes
be
it
worse
fun.
than we are.
Yeah, have you listened to our first episode? Then tell us about it.
Right. All right, you don't have to tell anybody, but anyway, that's awesome.
yeah,
Good for
so
you. Okay.
yeah, very cool experience. I got to work in downtown Chicago. First day the dispensaries open, and they only had like a handful of dispensaries opening in the beginning. So very, very cool to be part of that. And so then I gradually progressed to working in clinics because Good Intentions was like a magazine that was supposed to try to educate patients just through like, when you go to Colorado, you'll see that they have cannabis magazines where they have like, you can get an ounce for $49 and you cut the coupon out and then you like use that at the dispensary. Well, now everything's pretty much virtual. So it's kind of changed the dynamic of like the magazine game. So they were also helping people get approved for their medical card. I realized very quickly though that living in Chicago was very expensive. So we decided I'm not gonna live in Chicago. I ended up getting a job in Peoria. And then soon after I met the past doctor that worked at Star Flower Clinic, which was Dr. Plaw. And then he offered me a job in Fulton, and I've been there since 2017.
Okay. So speaking of education, the pain patch, the cannabis patch.
Yeah.
Did that make you high at all?
So I wouldn't say it made me high, but I definitely felt, it didn't give me a psychoactive high per se.
Okay.
But I definitely had a very strong body high where I had slept almost the entire way from Illinois to Colorado. And I remember after I had that pain patch on, it made me fall back asleep. So but it didn't make me feel the high that you would expect when you like smoke cannabis by any means.
Similar to an edible?
Yeah, similar to an edible. I think that it worked a little bit quicker than an edible. One thing about edibles is that I don't necessarily love them because I never can predict how much I need in order to feel the way that I want to feel.
I don't like the wait. That's the worst. And I don't think, I think Banjo gets a way more reaction from edibles than I do. I don't know, because I'll wait.
She does from the edibles I make her.
Well, that's for sure. But we'll both take the same edibles. We've been buying the 50 milligram single gummy edibles, and we'll take them at the same time. And then chilling out in dinner, and then all of a sudden she starts laughing, and shit I say is like, oh, something's working. She thinks I'm funny again.
Or we're watching the football game and she's zoned out on the football.
Right.
Anyway, so okay,
Allegedly.
So I've never done a pain patch, cannabis patch. So that's good to know. Any idea how strong it was?
Like 20 milligrams. It was very small, but they had a mixture of cannabinoids. So it had CBN, THC, and CBD.
Yep.
It's actually Mary's Medicinals, if you've ever heard of that brand.
Yep.
Okay.
GTI actually kind of partnered with them for a small amount of time. I'm not sure if they still do or not.
And those last
but,
how long, they said?
they can last up to 8 hours. So,
Really? One patch, 8 hours?
Yeah, they
And
have
go
like a time
for
release.
How much?
Depending, in Colorado, it was only 11. In Illinois, you can go upwards to $20 to $30 a pop. So it varies. But you can also get Mary's Nutritionals. It's the same brand, but it's made with hemp, and they have those online.
That's cool. I wish that when I started smoking weed, I would have taken a more educational approach to it. I think that I probably wouldn't be using as much weed as I use now.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's,
probably had better results.
we always tell folks to start low, go slow. Microdosing is very important in our industry because that's the thing is that a lot of folks start using cannabis when they're young or when they're completely uneducated. They use too much and they do a sense of an overdose, which they don't die from that overdose, but they use too much. And that's how you have the people that are like, I would never smoke cannabis again because the effect that it had on me was just overwhelming. It made me feel paranoid. It made me feel just negative. Some people even say like they just are out of control. One lady said that she felt that time slowed down so much for her that it like made her freak out. She like felt like she was like frozen in time. And so
Can I have her number? I want to know what she took.
Right, what does she have? I want some.
well, it's just taking too much cannabis
you're
when
right.
you're
Yeah, yeah.
completely new to the
Right.
game and have zero tolerance whatsoever. And so, yeah, we build a tolerance, which makes us more comfortable with the feeling, but it definitely can be alarming to people that have never smoked and they smoke a joint by themselves. Or even we had a patient one time that was in a nursing home and we told him, start low, go slow, keep a diary of what you're taking. Because the thing is that sometimes we like have an experience and it's just like, oh, that was fine, that was normal. Then the next time we want to increase it. Well, him and his sister, his sister was like his caregiver. She gave him a little bit and he was like, I don't feel it, so give me some more.
Oh, no.
And so she was like, all right. She called me. She's like, should I give him some more? I'm like, no. I'm like, how much did you take? Just a grain of rice, like you said. She said, I'm going to give him another grain of rice. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't think you should.
Give him at least 10 minutes.
I can't. Well, no, she gave him like an hour.
Okay.
So it was like
Okay.
a full hour. So she gave him another grain of rice. He said, this stuff ain't working. We spent $60 on this RSO, which is an edible form of cannabis. I'm going to take a little bit more. He ended up taking, instead of a grain of rice, but he took like a small notch, which was a lot more. And by 9 p.m., they're calling me on my personal phone, and they're like, he's high. He's like going down a trip. He's thinking that he's going to die. The nursing home doesn't know what to do. And she was
shit.
just very overwhelmed. She's like, we're not trying this ever again. And it was because they didn't listen
Right.
to the method of just start low,
Right.
go slow, continue. And a lot of people think an hour is good, but sometimes it takes up to 2 hours to fill an edible. And that is the one reason why I kind of stay away from edibles, just because you just don't know how they're going to feel. Tinctures are sometimes easier to work with. They're droplets that you put under your tongue.
You're
And for
listening,
some
Dunk,
reason-
about those edibles?
For some reason, since they absorb in your sublingual glands, it hits your body faster than even an edible because it doesn't have to go through your digestive system. So, there are other methods that you can try other than edibles to kind of see what will work.
Well, I mentioned Dunk on the edibles because she mentioned in an episode before she's taking edibles from strangers. Like, I don't know if I'd do that. You're strange enough when I take your edibles, but at least I know where you grow it.
Right.
Yeah.
But edibles from strangers, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, no, and especially because you don't know how much are in them.
Right,
Because
exactly.
edibles are another thing that you can try to dose it correctly, but if you get a
Well,
little bit more
there's
oil or something.
I feel
you
there's
ever-
so many variables because not only one, what do they put in there and how much and where they get it from, but then also the person who eats it, how does it affect them? It's going to affect, you. Obviously, you're a much smaller frame than I am. It's going to affect you differently from me. Maybe my body can take it, and like I said, I don't think the edibles affect me as much as they do banjo. But so maybe it's the type of edible. Then I should look more at the See, I need to get in the terpenes, and I've not educated myself on the terpenes.
Are you up on terpenes and stuff like that?
I am. It's kind of one of those things, though, that it's a learning process just because they're forever changing in the sense of you just are learning new material every single day about all this, smells and how they make people interact. The thing is, cannabis is so complex, though, that, like you said, something that affects you may affect me completely differently.
Right.
So it's all about finding what works for you, and that's why we tell folks to keep a diary, just so then they can make sure that, hey, if this is working for you, continue using that. You don't have to switch it up just because people just want to
we're
switch
behind
it up.
again. I was going to try and get my Google speaker to be my verbal diary, so I could just tell Google what I'm smoking, what date, whatever, and so that it could dictate it into a file for me. I have yet to set that up, but we met with Big Daddy Dan in a previous episode. We mentioned him up there in Savannah, but he keeps these very detailed books. He saves the label. He takes a picture, the joint or whatever he took, and he writes down his experience, the date and time, and the whole. And he just catalogs it, and it's amazing that he takes that much time. And I don't. I think I like to move too fast for that. I'm like, hey, I need this high THC, whatever sativa.
I just never
Let's
put
go.
that much thought into it.
I want to,
and I need to.
You
but
should.
I don't. But I wanted to ask you, Doctor. So when we're talking about how edibles work,
Staying on Renee here. Why is switching over here?
well, I know,
He's
but
next.
But he is. But
He had a question
It's appropriate.
before it disappears.
That's fine.
and he's got more clout than I do.
All right.
So, do you see this much? Did you see this much variability in your career of reactions to conventional medicines with patients?
I don't understand.
So when we're talking about how edibles hit different people differently, everybody's a
Yes.
little bit different. Is it any different than conventional medicine?
Yeah, that's true. Some people don't get.
I mean,
same effect
I know
from,
conventional medicine is probably more predictable because it's more.
But there's only one drug in that
Yes.
with the filler.
Yep.
And
the plant can have so many varieties and
Oh, yeah.
variations. It's so intricate in each growth. You've noticed that.
Oh yeah.
So it's so varied. So
well, and then cannabis, I think, affects not only your body but your mind too. And really, very few side effects. If there are any, you just wait them out and they go away. You're no worse for the
how
wear.
much do you know about the growing process? And so if somebody were to find a specific strain and they're growing it at home, and they found what works for them, what's the best way for them to consistently get that same kind of quality once they found, I like this one, it flowered, whatever? How do they keep that going? Is it clones? Is it,
Well, Renee is the
She's the grower. So yeah, back to Renee. See, I told you, focus on Renee.
I should just let you run the show.
Well, let's move the
that was a
mic
good
back.
question, though, because a lot of people will tell me about traditional medicines, and they'll wonder how it compares to cannabis. And that is so true that when you go to a doctor and get traditional medicines, they give you the milligram, they give you the side effects, they tell you exactly what to take, when to take it, how it's going to affect you.
Yep.
But they can't really do that with cannabis because cannabis is so complex.
Right.
So, and the thing about growing, yes, cloning, I would say, is your number one rule because you can get a pack of seeds, and even though they're all labeled the same strain, there are different variations, and sometimes how you grow it can change the plant. So
he grows it and I don't, and we're kind of that'll be like a, what do you say? I don't know. Next level of our episode, or as our story continues.
When you start to grow, you mean?
Yeah, when I start to grow, because I have one of our episodes, Big Muddy Genetics, when we were at the what is it, Rock Island Home Center or Garden Center?
No, it's
I keep forgetting the name.
HGT.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
HGT. But we recorded an episode right there in their store, and they had Big Muddy Genetics come meet with us, and he gave me 2 packs of seeds. And so I'm keeping them in a cool, dry place until I'm ready to grow. But I'm learning as we go now that you have to, you can't just plant one seed and that plant's going to be great. That they plant, maybe 6 seeds, and they take the couple best 2 or 3. And I'm learning, and I'm comparing it to families and children as you take the quality kids and get rid of the rejects. It's
Like
a little cold.
in my family,
They're all producers.
I'm the quality kid. My sister's the reject.
Whatever. But that's my mind, because you're talking about genetics, and they're having sex, they're mating, they're making children, they're making new babies, aka seeds, and they're growing up, and then how they're raised. the environment that they're in, just like children, makes a better quality of flower, makes a better quality kid, essentially.
But the interesting part about that is that you can have two seeds in the same environment and they can still be two different plants, just like humans.
Right.
Am I literally comparing people to plants?
I mean,
Plants
it's a fair
versus
statement,
zombies.
honestly, if you really think about it. I mean, it's a growing plant where
Right.
everything that you're putting into
Controls it, affects it,
Yeah, it
changes
affects
it,
it.
and every single one is unique, just like humans.
Totally.
So do
without
you
a doubt.
grow then?
I used to.
You used to?
I live in good old Iowa now, so I'm not allowed to grow anymore.
God, I hate that about Iowa.
Now, speaking of Iowa, we'll talk Star
I
Flower.
farm in
The,
Iowa, so I'm frequently in Iowa.
Star Flower does see Iowa and Illinois patients. Now, we've heard about the Iowa. It does have medical cannabis. It doesn't have the same. You can't buy flower for one.
Correct. So, and you can't buy high THC, so edibles. So there's not like any kind of chocolate edibles or gummies that are available there either. Closest dispensary to the Quad Cities is going to be in Iowa City, but they do have a medical cannabis program. They do have THC available. It is legit. They have concentrates. They have vape pens. They also have lotions and capsules. So there is a wide variety of products, but definitely not as fluent as Illinois' program is.
And as I mentioned on previous episodes, I'm in a support group for the brain injury, and most of them are in Iowa because it's the BIAIA. You remember that one?
No.
The Brain Injury Alliance of Iowa.
That's right.
But I go to that support group every week, and so here I am talking about how I love cannabis and how much it's helped me, and they're all over there in Iowa. I was like, well, first of all, the dispensary is clear in Iowa City, and it sucks. But what are the quality products they can get at an Iowa dispensary?
Hold on a second.
Doesn't suck, I say,
It
but
sucks
limited.
to us because we live in Illinois and
True,
we can have
true.
whatever we want.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't give it a chance. They see that it's in Iowa and they're just like, I'm not going to go there. When I first moved to Iowa, I almost had that same regard. I was like, I'm not going to get my Iowa medical card. It's pointless. But then I moved into an apartment building where they are very strict on people using cannabis there. So then I had to get a card just for legal protections. And so then I was like, well, since I have a card, let me go check it out. And the dabs actually taste better, some of the dabs that I've tried, than some of the Illinois dabs that I've tried. So, and same with Michigan. I've tried dabs from Michigan too, and I feel that the quality in Iowa, they have just such strict standards that the flavor and the high is decent. So a lot of people just kind of knock it before they try it just because they have a perception before they even go in.
All right, so what do you know about the law in Iowa? If I were to live in Iowa and then get a medical card and then come over to Illinois and buy cannabis and then bring it back to Iowa. Now, I know it says right there you can't transport across state lines, but if I'm caught with it in Iowa, already, it's, I guess, marked as an Illinois product, so they're going to butt you right there.
So there's two catches on that. So the first one is that federally, you're not allowed to bring it across state
Right.
lines. But Iowa has this little conflicting law that allows you to bring out-of-state products into their state as long as it's within their means. So like concentrates, vape pens, certain edibles.
So if I'm buying the same products I can get here over there, that's okay.
Then it's okay. But it's
Okay.
it's one of those
It's
gray
loose.
areas that I wouldn't highly recommend
I
it,
like gray.
just because I feel like they are still trying to work out their cannabis laws. So in like flower and high THC products, you're not allowed to bring in and you're not allowed to use there either.
Well, that's
It
not
doesn't
fun.
make sense that you can't have flour there.
It doesn't.
Like, they're all worried about.
Well, that's such
they
a farming
they talk about
area.
concentrates or what they're worried about.
So,
They-
fun fact for you, I cannot smoke high THC products anymore. I took a very big tolerance break and I moved to Oregon. Well, then I came back home, and when I came back home, actually while I was in Oregon, I like smoked some THC and I didn't like the way that it made me feel. So I only smoke CBD products now.
Okay.
I found a hemp brand called East Fork Cultivars that I smoke, and the flower tastes just like normal cannabis. It just does not give me a head high. It's only a body high, which I have been okay with. So when I moved to Iowa, I was living at my cousin's house and I was house sitting. Well, he came home early, so I was like, okay, well, this whole roommate situation isn't going to work. So I found an apartment in Davenport, Iowa, decided I was going to move there. Well, hemp is legal in all 50 states. So I was like, I am not worried
Really?
about
I
having.
guess I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, for now.
right. Yep.
Yes,
Right,
for now,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
with the whole bill,
Right.
that might change. But I moved there in April. So I was like, I'm fine. Like, I don't have to even worry. I probably wouldn't have moved there if I was still using cannabis, just because I don't want to feel like a criminal where I'm living. And
Right.
Iowa sometimes it's just a little too strict for my liking. So I wasn't going to live there. Well, once I started smoking hemp, though, I'm like, this is going to be fine. I can smoke, I can live, it'll be great. So
that you can buy everywhere.
you can buy it everywhere. You can buy
Right.
it everywhere. And fun fact for you again, I get it mailed to my house from Oregon, which is great. Like, I literally get it mailed. I don't have to go to a dispensary. I don't have to do anything. So
Fuck yeah.
I was smoking in my apartment, and I have a neighbor who is not keen on the smell of cannabis. So she
That's
goes.
the one downside. It's got to have a downside. I
It
suppose.
is such a downside.
I say
So-
it's how you alert others that that's where the good time's at.
Totally. Well, she has a good time drinking, so she's not really.
We see what that leads to.
She didn't want to party with me, but so I got air purifiers. I have the windows open. I've got just Scentsies going, trying to make sure that everything smells good. Well, management ends up giving me a final warning. They're saying, "Hey, if you continue to smoke here, we're going to evict you." And I'm like, "But I never signed anything in my lease that says I cannot smoke." So I looked up Iowa law. Iowa and Idaho are the only two states in the United States that do not allow consumable hemp products. So you cannot consume them in inhalation form. So even though I have a medical cannabis card, I am only legally allowed to concentrate and dab, because all flower forms, hemp and cannabis, are illegal in Iowa.
And dabs are stronger.
Yes, way stronger.
Fuck
way more
is wrong
concerning.
with it? They're like, you know what? If we're gonna give you some, go ahead and get fucked up. Give you the dabs.
And since I don't smoke THC, using dabs now, so I had to kind of change my whole entire medicine routine, because I was like, well, I don't want to get kicked out of here, and
Right.
I also don't want to get in trouble. So I started dabbing. Well, I have before I moved to Oregon, I was smoking cannabis every day. So I have an e-nail and all that stuff. So I brought it out from the graveyard, and I'm like, all right. So first night, I'm like, all right, I got some dabs from Iowa City. Let's try this. I take one dab, and I'm like, whoa. I have not felt like this for a real long time.
Right on.
I was writing in my diary, man, I get where people are saying, because I had such a tolerance. I'm like, I feel almost like two separate people, when I'm sober versus when I'm high,
Right.
which I know sounds kind of insane, but when I smoke, I see things. How my friend Gert, she's the one that said that she felt like life was slowing down. I started feeling like life was slowing down. I'm like, holy moly.
That's funny.
And dabs, like you said, are just so much more potent. So I literally have to take a grain of rice when I dab now, because if I smoke anything more than that, I will be just a lot more high than I want to be.
So
I just don't dab.
quick sidebar. We're gonna go all over the place right here, but one, I promised myself I'm gonna start exercising. So I started, and treadmill. I was like, I want to entertain myself. I'm gonna re-listen to our episodes. I re-listened to episode 2, which now I'm gonna assign to you, Renee. Homework is Dab and Dick, which is where we tried to dab and experience that whole thing. I think you'll find it entertaining.
Was it that bad?
Well, one, it's a low quality episode.
Wow.
This is
All
back
of
when
these
we
are
were
low-quality
in our
episodes.
upstairs bedroom that I converted into a home office, and we're blowing out the window and recording while the dog's laying there watching. This is how early our episode was before we upgraded down here in the garage in the court.
And we only had one mic.
Sharing one mic for the whole room. And now look at us, 3 mics. 2 because we've upgraded. A third one, thanks for Dick for a Day, Donnie, which you'll hear about him in a few various episodes here. Which, Donnie, I hope you're feeling good soon, because I don't know how much. I'm going to let him tell the story, but he's been laid up for a while.
Oh my God, I saw that picture you sent of his foot.
Oh, man. His foot's messed up.
He had a flesh wound that's that far. Into
He's
his
letting it
heel.
heal from the inside out. They had to dig it out, infection. So it's pretty nasty.
Ooh.
So but he uses
Willis.
cannabis to help. But I wanted to record while he's laid up to help entertain him, since he couldn't go anywhere. But apparently that wasn't an option. He's got to keep it clean and can't be out in the garage, whatever. So anyway, you're going to distract me. But you already have.
I think I did.
Too late.
Yeah.
Too late. Anyway, so I wanted you to listen to the episode. But what we wanted to do was have a future episode and try dabs again. So with somebody who knows what they're doing. Now, we're running into more and more people
You want to come dab with us?
that know how to dab. When can we have a dabbing episode? Dabbing Dick Part 2.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, things I just throw it out there, so hopefully it gives us things to work towards. So, one, we wanted to all kinds of things. We've recorded on our boat. We've recorded down live at the at the Edge on a Monday when they're closed. But we're working towards a live stream at the Edge, which is why I brought up Donnie, which is a cannabis user and one of the points leaders at most of the dispensaries in the area.
Or all of them.
Right. But Donnie's a great guy. So listen to a few episodes, you'll hear about Donnie at the Edge. So working on getting him to be an advertiser on a show. Let's go, Donnie. Let's get together. I'm waiting for you to heal because we're gonna live stream. I'm still trying to figure out the software. I'm hoping I'm getting closer to it. Where we're gonna live stream. Please feel free to send us a message if you feel it YouTube or Instagram or if there's a preference for when I live stream. I don't know about this stuff. This is where Dunk is supposed to get involved, but she's not here. She's our distant assistant. But Renee, tell us, can you remember your first time smoking weed?
Yes. I was in high school and I compare it to a dream. It felt like it was all a dream. So,
Okay.
yeah, and I had to go home that evening. And so that was fun too, trying to sneak into my mom's house without her noticing that I had used cannabis for the first time ever.
Did it work?
Yes.
No, I mean, did it sneaking in without her knowing?
Yes, yeah, no,
Oh,
totally. Yeah, no, she didn't know. I snuck in very quietly and went straight to bed, and I woke up and I said, wow, I don't know if I'm ever going to do that again, but
That's
I
impressive.
did. So,
Okay.
yeah, no, it definitely, I actually had heard Biggie Smalls, It Was All a Dream, and it was like very comparable. Like it felt like all a dream. Like,
Right?
So was this late 90s?
no, it was 2008.
Oh, okay.
No, I had just like randomly heard it
Oh,
one
okay.
day, like on the internet, and I
okay.
just was like, wow. It has always made me remember how it felt the first time I ever smoked cannabis, because I was like, yeah, like that song, it's not like really comparable in the sense, but it
Right.
really felt like it was all a dream. Like,
Right.
yeah, it was a very weird experience. But
I gotcha.
again, now that I don't have the same tolerance that I've had, it sometimes still feels that way when I smoke too much. So it just must be something within me that it triggers that.
That kind of let you know that, all right, this is probably too much.
Yeah,
Well,
I've smoked too much.
to me, I would feel that that's readjusting your tolerance
Yeah, it is.
because you're noticing it.
So there was a movie called Flight Risk, and it's about this guy. He's like in maybe like Alaska or something, and they're taking him from Alaska back to the United States or somewhere, and they're in this airplane, and he ends up like hijacking the airplane, and he kills the pilot. And so the lady that's the cop, she ends up having to take over the plane to like drive it, and she ends up going way too high into the air, and all of a sudden, like the guy that's next to her is like, hey, like wake up, like you're alive. And she's like too high in the air from the altitude. And she finally like wakes up and she like brings the plane down. And sometimes when I smoke, that's how I feel. I'm like disassociated with reality, which is like a weird feeling,
Right.
but it's the
Really?
only way. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. But it's totally the way that people feel when they're too high up in the air is how I feel when I smoke too much cannabis.
Okay.
When I first started, I used to describe it as a heavy cloud. I felt like I was floating, but I was just so heavy, just kind of like a low fog or something. I don't know. That's just the way it felt. Like if I was moving around doing something, it felt like
kinda
a heavy
creepy.
cloud. It is.
All right.
But maybe you're creepy.
How'd you feel when you first started smoking?
Can you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember. I guess I never really.
I didn't feel a thing.
You did?
Yeah, I didn't. Nothing.
No, I felt it the first time. When I start, I smoke weed so much for pain so much that I think I just finally was so happy I felt normal. I could move again.
Yes.
So I never really, I don't know. I never, I can't describe it.
I had a patient call yesterday. She's a minor that lives in Iowa, and I was talking to her mom, and her mom is really worried that she's going to get psychoactively high. And she deals with fibromyalgia every day, though, and she said that her pain tolerance is on a 10 every single day of her life.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, sometimes when we have so much pain, it actually eliminates the psychoactive high. So we can start low and go slow, but your daughter may need more than the average person because she's dealing with such phenomenal pain.
Try some and find out. That's why I say fuck around and find out.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, the risk is so low. The negative side of cannabis, I mean, people are using it to get off the harmful drugs. We're talking about everything cannabis can do for everybody anywhere, so at least give it a try. There's no downside. I mean, again, nobody's died from weed today, they say. You see the memes going all over the place. But, all right, so your first time, your reason for use?
Endometriosis. I have really bad cramps.
That's right. And then your method of choice?
So smoking is my number one. I love a good joint. It's my absolute favorite by any means.
All right. So you rolled your own?
Yes, I stuff cones.
You stuff cones, so just like, look at you guys, twinsies. It's cute. Yeah. All right. But again, I've agreed with it. The convenience, the easy, the disposal. I love so many features of it. I've tried to show you some of the features of mine in the last episode.
I'm a joint guy.
I know. I do like them. I wouldn't turn them down. I'm not saying they're bad. I just don't want to take the time to pack them all as one.
I think they hit smoother than like a bong. I like the consistency of being able to smoke and just chill. I think holding something in my hand too is also
I do like that. I used to smoke cigarettes, so I do miss that oral fixation, just having it there. I like you just sitting there chilling with the joint and hanging out. I can understand that. The time it takes, you can taste the paper. I don't like that part, but I smoke a bowl and I just do other things instead of sitting there with the joint.
My life has been so chaotic.
Yeah, which we're trying to get you to slow down.
Well, yeah, which never happened. But no, I mean,
no. You gave us a goal, which is now we need advertisers and sponsorships and whatever. You gave
blah blah blah. Anyway,
right?
No, what I'm saying is like my career, being a paramedic and all that in the Quad Cities, that I think that I'm just one of those relaxation smokers, and I think that that's why I'm one of the reasons why I'm attracted to joints.
Yeah,
is
certainly.
I like that chill factor.
Yes.
No, I get that.
And it helps me more. For
Again,
that.
I enjoy it. I've been buying some. I have these.
How long will a joint last for you?
You mean a couple hours? So.
Because for me, I'm such a microdoser.
Yep.
It lasts a week.
A whole
Out on the
joint.
front porch.
Yeah, he just puts
Okay.
it out.
One puff and one and done.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Where we can smoke a joint in one setting and then put it out, and we may even smoke another one within an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah,
I don't want to put it down. I finish what I start.
Well, when I first started smoking cannabis, when I first got my license, I lost 60 pounds. And I walked in my office, and our finance guy, who has liked to party in his life, no offense, just being real, says, I have never met a stoner that lost weight. And I said, well, this is how much it helps me.
Right.
I can move now.
Right.
I don't have to sit on my ass all the time.
Right.
And cry about
Again,
my
it's going to
back
affect
and-
people differently.
Yeah.
Use
Yeah.
it for your own reason, but I'm just saying give it a try.
Right.
So, Renee, tell us a little bit more about you and your relationship with weed. So you're not growing now because you
No.
live in Iowa.
Correct.
Do you have a medical card then?
I do.
You and then so you don't purchase anything in Illinois.
No.
All right. So then, so your dab is your preferred.
It's the
Well,
method that I have to use.
Have to use. So not preferred. Sorry, joint was your preference, which I can agree. But the flower, I just like the flower, which I want to get to growing, which we're going to get to you later. But
Right.
I'm going to lose a train of thought again. We'll catch it somewhere. But so you dabs now. I don't find them convenient. So what's the easiest way as an Iowan to dab? What's the process?
So they have vape pens available, which is kind of like another form of dabbing in a weird way. 'Cause
Yep.
it's the
So
same
they
kind of
count that.
concentrate.
All right.
So they do have vape pens. They have a plethora of those available. I don't like vape pens though, because I'm not sure exactly what you're burning when you're using a vape pen. I sometimes feel like that can be harmful for your lungs.
It tastes different.
It does taste
It
different.
hits
most
lift
certainly.
different. It tastes different.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I mean, out of need and convenience
Yes.
for I don't smell in public.
Yeah,
fine, but
yeah.
not a fan.
So somebody comes in to see Dr. Woods and he says, okay, I think that you qualify in Iowa. what are you going to tell them? What's their first trip consist of? Like, what are you going to advise? Are you going to advise them to do something on their first trip?
Yeah, so
Okay.
first things first is that all you need is a valid ID and a proof of residence stating that you live in Iowa to get approved. So it's a very simple process. A lot of people think that it's going to be a lot harder.
It's
and
not.
then once you have a medical condition, including chronic pain, seizures, PTSD, a lot of patients even have PTSD and they kind of just ignore it. They
Yep.
think that it's just anxiety, depression. They don't realize that it's based on some kind of traumatic event that happened.
Yep.
And that they've just kind of been
Because they're
living
not
with
going to go
it.
to therapy because they're not those kind of people.
Right. Or they just, they're just not. A lot
Or
of people,
therapy doesn't work for them.
Right.
or they just don't realize that they even have a real problem. You know, they've had it for so long, and it's kind of just like something that they've become immune to in a sense. So once we find out what their condition is, they have their documents, we get them submitted. Once they get approved, they'll get a medical card within about 7 days from the state of Iowa. It's going to be a PDF. So once they have that card, then they can go into the dispensary. I always ask folks, what is their preferred method? Because a lot of people have used cannabis before, even if they've never went to a dispensary before.
If they're getting
Okay.
a medical card, they probably have at least tried it. They're like, well, I'll just get a medical card and save.
Maybe.
Depending
would
on their
think.
age. It depends on their age because, like, our elderly patient that I spoke about earlier, he had never tried cannabis, and his sister had just came across it, thought that this would be a good idea. He was somebody that, like,
Yeah.
never drank alcohol, never did drugs. And so there are some people that are completely green to the whole situation. But most people, I would say a more majority than not, have used some kind of cannabis. Now, since flower is not available in Iowa, I always tell them that if they do want to use some kind of inhalation method, they either have to dab or they have to vape. I always tell vaping is going to be a lot easier because if you're not really familiar with
Right.
products, you're not going to be able. The
The
thing
little
with
spoons and then dab it. Yeah.
yeah, no spoons are needed, but you definitely are going to have.
Dablicated.
You're going to
No,
have.
not the 2 spoons. I'm talking about the little tiny ones to measure it out.
No, so dabbing is okay. Like you use like a dentist pick or like
Yeah.
some kind of like
That's what I'm saying. Those little tiny things that mess. That's why I don't really mess with it.
So yeah, but it's gonna
Not
be
heroin spoon.
No,
Yeah.
no, say-
This is one
we've
of the,
heard
like-
about that before in an episode, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the little tiny things when you're trying to measure out the little bit. It's like that's what I
Yes,
don't like.
it's a little intimidating. Also, you have to have a glass bong in most cases, along with it, like an e-nail or just a nail that you have
I
to
tried
heat
with
up with the
that.
torch. Yeah, it's a lot. A lot of people do have nectar collectors where you can just warm that up and then inhale out of that.
what?
A nectar collector. That's kind of what that thing is.
That's the thing I was trying to tell you. It's like it's a little bowl. You get the terp balls. There's like a little bowl that attaches there, and then there's terp balls that spin when you inhale,
Okay.
and like basically essentially rub it all off the sides. A
It's
little bit of
weird.
dab. You got to heat it up.
It's a process.
That's
and
why.
Yeah,
I
that's why I don't
try my
like
joint
it.
guys.
Yes.
That's what I don't like
yes,
it. And then you got to
totally.
clean it. Yeah.
So vape pens, though, all you have to do is get a battery. The dispensary sells a battery. You
Yeah.
twist it in. And I always tell them to start with that. But if you like vaping, then maybe we can excel
Talk
you to
about
dab.
dabs. Yeah.
Just because, you may not be comfortable dabbing in the beginning, but once you're at home and you see the difference in flavor, you may think that a dab is easier, and it's really not a hard thing. You just have to kind of get used to it. They also have things called
Just picture our episode every time she's talking about it.
They also have e-nails, and e-nails actually just plug into an outlet and you can turn them on. Sometimes they can charge, so they have like the Puffcos available. They have just e-nails from like High Five e-nail, and then they have just like generic ones as well. So there are ways that you can get around not using the torch and it just being like ready in an instant. But yeah, so I always tell people how they want to start is how they will start, but I have to see kind of what they're more comfortable with. Other people, though, will literally just get a card just so they can get THC lotions and they can put it on like a specific pain.
Yeah, I've been using that as well. I did like that. Banjo liked that too. Yeah.
Yeah, so not everybody goes into it thinking that they're going to smoke or even eat cannabis. Sometimes they just want some kind of relief that
Yeah.
they haven't been able to find through like a biofreeze.
Yeah, I like the THC cream. It was nice.
Yeah, it works well, and it
Yeah.
doesn't. Since your skin barrier is so strong, it won't go absorb through that and get you any kind of psychoactive high.
Right.
So like people that are like, I have CDL or they drive some kind of
You can't test positive using it?
No, you can't test
Okay.
positive for lotions. Lotions
I wouldn't
is-
think so.
Really?
Yeah, lotions is the one thing that it's not strong enough. So it just goes
It's
into
topical.
Yeah, it's a topical. So it's like the one kind of exception to the rule. Everything else though, yeah.
Okay.
Right on.
All right.
Interesting.
So yeah, we do have kind of a beginning, start low, go slow still for Iowa. And for Illinois, we do the same thing. We ask them kind of, what are you comfortable using? Doc will sometimes recommend them either a specific amount of an edible. So he'll tell them like, hey, just start with like a 5 milligram. But there's so many products available that like one dispensary may be completely different than the other dispensary. So we just kind of give them an idea, a recommendation, and then they're kind of able to go in and use what they want.
Okay.
Right on.
Patients that are naive to cannabis, elderly patients,
Yep.
I usually recommend an edible because I don't want people to start smoking just out of the blue at 65 years of age, you know?
Okay.
And then I have a little schedule written out at the office I hand out to people and start very low, usually have them start at night with like 2.5 milligrams.
Okay.
And then over a few days, you increase it to 5 milligrams, and then up to 3 times a day, you know.
Okay.
And I usually suggest not going over 30 milligrams a day, particularly for people that aren't familiar with cannabis.
Yep.
There's a prescription cannabis preparation called Marinol, which was studied, and I think it's still available. But they did all the studies on it, and their conclusion was 10 milligrams 3 times a day of Marinol. Now, that's kind of a synthetic medication, and I don't know how it applies to cannabis, but it's a good rule to start out with, I think. And then after that, I talked to one gentleman one time. I'm sorry, it's your mic, Renee.
No.
I just got one more question for her. We finish up with her as soon as you're done with this thought. And then,
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
I had this one gentleman. Oh, now I lost my thought.
Oh, damn.
Shoot, I hate it when that happens.
Talking about Marinol.
Yeah.
And the 10 milligrams.
Oh, I had an elderly gentleman who wasn't familiar with it. He worked his way up to 30 milligrams a day in divided doses, and he was still having issues. And so he called back, and we talked about it, and I said, well, that's just, just a guideline, just to get started. And after that, really, there's no upper limit to how much cannabis you can use. So anyway, he's gradually, very slowly, gradually increasing his amount at each time to see how far that goes until he gets side effects. Side effects would be getting high or dizzy or whatever.
Big smiles.
Yeah. Well, that's not a side. I think that's a good side
I
effect.
know. I'm just being a smart ass.
Right.
But I just wanted to add how I usually elderly people and naive cannabis
I like
users.
that. You kind of bring more of a conventional medical approach.
Totally. And that's what we wish that Illinois actually did, because when I first started the program, I thought that they were going to go full force. It was going to be like a pharmaceutical kind of guideline, how he stated. But it's not. They have increased products that you can just buy whatever you want, however you want. I don't like that they increase so much sugar with their edibles, because I feel as though a lot of people have diabetes or they have other issues, and the sugar and the cannabis sometimes don't mix well together.
Yep.
So yeah, I love that we do that, because I feel like it gives people more of an understanding of what they're trying, and it makes them have a different outlook when they go to the dispensary versus just being like, oh, just give me this. And like sometimes when you go to the dispensary, people will say, well, just ask the dispensary agent. But we have learned through years of experience that sometimes they don't know very much.
No, they don't.
So,
Sometimes they're awesome.
yes, sometimes they're very educational.
We had that on
but
episode too. You go during the week, during the day, you find some people that they do it. Just Joe was one that we had on.
Yeah.
He's on the medical side, which, well, I guess he's not anymore.
But you go on the weekends and you might get somebody that's working there part time that just likes to party.
I mean, that's what's nice about the medical card and going to Star Flower and then shopping at Fulton, just because they have the separate medical side, and the people over there are specifically trained with the different types of products and stuff. It's not the ones that you might find even on the rec side that just, part-time job. And
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, though, the state does not have any guidelines for education for dispensary agents, because they kind of were just learning the process as it became legal.
Right.
So there's not like a set guideline. They used to have these classes that would charge like $400 to learn about cannabis, that you can learn all this stuff online for free with just research. So that is one thing I do wish that Illinois and Iowa would improve, is having a set guideline for how to explain cannabis, even though it is so complex, but like starting people off lower and slower versus just being like, well, here, try 10 or 20 just because they don't feel anything off of 10 and 20, because sometimes they get people feeling a way that they weren't really expecting to feel.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right, now I know I gave you a hard time, but your job specific. I know Star Flower isn't open Monday through Friday 8 to 5, but you work full time. You help me because I went and I saw the doctor. I had my appointment, but then you helped with all the paperwork, and I think you were even able to go online and help make sure everything went through okay with the state. And I did have an issue I talked about, but not your fault, but that's with the state. But they tried to change me to a veteran. Well, you guys tried to change me to a veteran status, and they didn't like. I didn't think they understood the veteran status. I didn't qualify for that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a veteran. Yes, I qualify for that, but not medically necessary because of my duty as a veteran. I think may have been their stipulation.
Did you have a DD 214?
I did, but it said honorable discharge, and I don't think they like that.
That's
I mean,
That's what
I
they look
wouldn't think
for.
it would, but
Yeah, I'm not
know.
sure.
Maybe you can check the file,
State's
but-
new website has been kind of a
I
challenge.
did not like
So
that.
yeah, it's been, and that's one thing that's part of my job is learning kind of how the state proceeds with this whole medical program. In April, they just decided that they were going to completely change the website. So we were locked out of the system for about 2-week period, and then once the system came back up, it was like a completely blank slate. None of the people's applications were the same username and password that we had used with the previous state. We had to create all new accounts for
Oh,
it.
that
We had a whole
sucks.
new system. So yeah, there is a lot, even though we are only open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We're only open Wednesdays and Saturdays seeing patients. So I'm still there on Monday and Friday as well, just doing everything else that's in between. And even like today, when I get home, I have to go to work just because I have to call and call people for tomorrow's appointment. So yeah, I do work often.
Right.
But I love my job. I love it
Yeah.
so much. It's the best thing that could have ever happened. And I feel as though that
well, you're helping people.
yeah, it's a wonderful experience all around, and I love Dr. Woods. He's so easygoing, and he's a great boss.
Well, you were certainly easy to communicate. You're very responsive, through email or whatever, or phone. And again, because I don't think you were there the day I had the appointment, which you don't need to be. Because he took the picture, and I think everything's taken care of. I needed a renewal, but because of this veteran issue, I only got a 30-day renewal. But we'll have to get into that. But anyway, we are DICK&Dank.com.
That's
Please
right.
follow us on any or all the social medias. I don't even want to. Well, which ones are we on? Let's see. Well, you can listen to us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud. We talked about our first time, the Message Choice Readings Fruits. Yeah. Download our song, Dick and Dank, the song, if you really like it, from SoundCloud. But subscribe to our website so we know who our true followers are, the people that really are Dick and Dank fans. You can also follow us on all the social medias, so Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, X. I am Mr. Dank5 on Instagram, and I believe YouTube, and that's where I'm debating on our live stream when we get down at the edge with some bent water. 2 cases sitting right over there, free from bent water. We'll talk more about
We better give them away before it's illegal.
I know. Or maybe that'll make a more valuable episode if we wait till it's illegal. A bad boy episode.
Right.
DICK&Dank.com.
Yeah, here we go. Good night.
Talking things and important facts, like what's next, give me gas. There's a place that you wanna go. The clientele is really slow. DICK&Dank.com, oh yeah. DICK&Dank.com, alright. DICK&Dank.com. Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la. DICK&Dank.com. DICK&Dank.com.
I think I'm officially a little dumber after listening to that. I was actually thinking that as soon as you said that. Perfect. Good times.
How good did that feel? Honestly.